Welcome to the Compassionate Recovery Podcast, the show where we explore healing from sex and porn addiction, betrayal, infidelity, substance use, and everything in between. Wherever you are on your healing journey, I'm glad you're here. Welcome. My name is Jeremy Mast. I'm a licensed therapist. I'm a certified sex addiction therapist, a certified partner trauma therapist. I'm also the clinical director and founder at the Center for Integrative Change, a therapy and coaching practice dedicated to helping those struggling with and affected by sex and porn addiction, betrayal, infidelity, and addictions. We help them transform their lives. Recovery is not a straight line. We need compassion at every step in the way. So, wherever you are, now that you're here, pull up a chair, take a breath, and let's dive in. All right, welcome back for part 2 of our conversation about how to handle the aftermath of betrayal. And again, I'm here with Jorden Groenink, and Jorden is a licensed marriage family therapist. She's a certified partner trauma therapist, and I am so fortunate to call her a colleague and a friend. Welcome back, Jorden. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, happy to be here. It's so exciting to be at the beginning of this podcast journey.
We were just talking about that. I'm so excited too. And what better way, to begin this journey than to have you on. So again, thanks for being here. I'm really grateful that you made this work. So before the break, we were talking a little bit about full disclosure and about consciously choosing. These are my words here, obviously, but consciously choosing to stop investigating, which is a really hard pill for many betrayed partners to swallow. But I wondered if you could just remind us of why that might be helpful. And specifically here, we're talking about investigating past acting out behaviors, right? So
Mhm.
I wonder if you could say a little bit more about that, why that's important to consider stopping as we commit to a process of full disclosure,
Mhm.
and how if betrayed partners don't do that, then that might lead to a staggered disclosure. So I'm wondering if you can help us unpack all of that.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Jeremy, I love when you put things in your own words because you speak so eloquently. Oftentimes I listen to you and I'm like, wow, I wish those words came to my mind, but no. But yes, staggered disclosure being the process of, okay, maybe a betrayed partner discovers something and it's like, what is this? Like, are you did are you doing this? What happened? And maybe initially it's met with, no, 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 no. And then the betrayed partner is like, I literally have this evidence right here. And it's like, okay, yes. Yeah, I did that. But I swear that's all I did. That's all I did. Because again, the betraying partner, they're not necessarily being an evil person. All of their instincts are saying, protect myself. And the reason and I can protect myself and I could protect my partner by not giving them the truth, which is wrong, like the wrong way of thinking, but it makes sense why betraying partners would think that way. And that's even if they're even necessarily fully come to terms with what they have done themselves, right? And so the staggered disclosure process is, okay, no, but I swear that's all there is. And then the betraying or the betrayed partner finds out something else. Okay, well, what about this? Okay, yeah, I did that too. But that's all, I promise. And then there's something else. Oh, yeah, I did that too. And so it's the staggered disclosure in the sense of you're not getting the full truth all at once for various reasons, but it's staggered over time. And this is really increases the amount of trauma symptoms that the betrayed partner has. Because if you think about it, it's like, okay, if something awful happens all at once, it's awful. But also it happened, it ended. My nervous system can start to process what happened, start to work through it. But if you're living through staggered disclosure, it's an active war zone. You don't know when the next bomb is going to drop. You are always on high alert. You cannot really stop looking around, stop being hyper vigilant because there's going to be something, and you don't know when it's coming or where it's coming from or what direction. But your body is saying, do not relax, do not calm down, do not find safety because this is not safe. And so that's why staggered disclosure just really increases the trauma symptoms.
I- you nailed it there. The hypervigilance, which is something we see so often with betrayed partners, this constant vigilance with monitoring behaviors, with investigating behaviors. It's a behavior that is an attempt to create safety, but it often undermines our sense of safety, right? Because we're looking around, expecting that next bomb. Like you said, I think that's such an apt description of what that's like for betrayed partners. They just never know what's around the corner.
Mhm.
So to sort of get away from how imprisoning that can feel for betrayed partners, how utterly defeating that can feel. This constant cycle of searching, of wondering, of worrying, of feeling devastated and angry, feeling like a slave to what we're going to find out next, or what he's going to lie about next, or what we're going to uncover next. That's a terrible way to live, and you're right. It can absolutely exacerbate the trauma that we've already experienced.
Mhm.
So, in order to get away from that vicious cycle, that's why we talk about boundaries. That's why we talk about focusing on self care. That's why we invite couples to consider the process of full disclosure, so that even though it's very difficult to start to trust that our partners are abiding by our boundaries, in the beginning we say, "Hey, put those boundaries in place and start to trust, but verify." Right? Observe his behavior because his behavior is the best indication of whether or not he's being truthful or not.
Mhm.
Are his behaviors aligning with what he's saying that he's doing? Every fulfilled boundary, every time that he comes home when he said that he would, every time that he does what he says that he will do, every
Mhm.
meeting that he attends, that he has already committed to, every therapy session that he participates in, that he's committed to, that rebuild safety and a sense of consistency and stability, which is so important after
Mhm.
betrayal. That's what we're going for. And that's why it's staggered disclosure. The inverse of that can be so destructive and harmful.
Mhm. And I would say, like, it does sound a little bit crazy because we're saying, can you commit to being in the unknown for a little while as trust is being built as much as it can as these things are happening? Can you be okay with that? Can you learn to soothe yourself enough to sit in that unknown for this information that is probably potentially life-changing? It's not no small information like, oh, I'm waiting to pick out what color I'm going to paint my walls. No, I'm waiting to see if my life's going to blow up or not, right? I'm waiting to see what this big truth is, all the little truths. And so we're asking partners, yeah, can you wait? Can you commit to waiting about the past behaviors, right? And in that committing time, it kind of feels like we're in limbo. You don't really have decisions about what's going to happen next, what's not going to happen next. And like I said, writing down the questions as they come up because these questions are important. We want them to get answered. We just
Hmm.
want them to get answered in a way that is helpful and not bombs dropping every minute. It is really hard. It's really hard what we are asking betrayed partners to do. And I will say, like, it's not fair. It's not fair. It's like you deserve all of the answers. If I had all the answers, I would give them to you right now, you know. But the reason that we do it this way is, like you mentioned in the previous episode, the locus of control being in the being in yourself, right? Internal instead of external. This is what you can control right now. You can control you asking all these questions and the extra trauma it brings you. Because you can't force your partner to be completely honest and truthful right now. You can't force yourself to trust them when they've been untrustworthy. You kind of have to trust the process. And it's like this tension of we want to make sure we don't do the full disclosure too quickly, because, if the betraying partner doesn't fully understand their actions, if they can't take accountability yet, if they can't be consistently truthful, then why are we even doing this? That's silly.
Exactly.
But you also don't want to drag it on too long because
No.
maybe there's these really big questions that you need answered to figure out, like, where am I going? What are my next steps? And there's a part of, like, you can't feel fully safe. You can't fully trust until you know the truth, right? So we're trying to feel safe enough to get to the truth to feel safer. We're trying to trust enough to get to the truth to trust more. So there's so much of it that's just kind of like a mind puzzle. And that's why having a therapist that is especially trained in this, I think, can be so important, really helpful. But I think that that leads me to my second don't, is I would say don't make life-changing decisions too quickly, because it's going to take time for the truth and it's going to take time for all the things. And so I know, kind of like a baseline we usually say is like the first year. Don't make life-altering decisions, but obviously, depending on your situation, it varies for everyone. It's not one size fits all, but that's a good baseline of that doesn't mean you can't remove yourself from the situation. That doesn't mean, you can't put up boundaries. That doesn't mean you can't protect yourself. But maybe I'm not going to get a divorce and move across the country in the first, 3 months of this happening, where I don't even know actually what really happened, and my nervous system is still unable to really, it's in a state where it's not allowing my brain to even think logically.
Yeah, that's right. That is. I'm glad you said that because that's been on my mind too as we've been thinking about betrayed partners and how to support them today. It can be so easy in our anger, in our pain, to make a decision to end a relationship or to toss the bum out, right? I mean, that's how betrayed partners can feel,
Yeah.
which is perfectly valid. And my heart goes out to betrayed partners every time I hear them talk about that.
Yeah.
That pain, it is so real and so valid, and at the same time, their love for their partner is also real. Just because they've been betrayed, it doesn't change the fact that they still have very real, very deep feelings for
Yeah.
the very person who has hurt them. So, committing to a process of full disclosure, agreeing on boundaries, establishing safety, getting the help of a therapist, and starting to work on your own healing so that you can you can. It is very possible to complete disclosure within 6 months. Everybody's journey is a little bit different. And certainly you're going to be done with disclosure in the first year if you commit to the full disclosure process. So if all goes well, of course, so that after disclosure, after your partner has shared with you his disclosure statement, after you've shared a letter with him about the emotional impact of the betrayal, and after he's made his amends letter, it's also called an emotional restitution letter. I'm describing a little bit the process of disclosure is the three-step process. But after that disclosure process, which is designed to be a repairing process for the relationship, then you may decide what you want in this relationship and where you might go.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And as you can see, that's, 6 months, a year after this initial betrayal. It is a long time. And so that can be hard. And I desperately wish there was an easier, quicker, better way. But as is life, these things, these hard things that happen to us, it's not fair, but we have to walk through them. We have to walk through them
Hmm.
if we want to get to the other side.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think you touched on something that so many betrayed partners feel this is not fair. This is not right. This is not just. You alluded to it in part one. Why do I have to go to therapy when he's the guy who did all this stuff? Right. But we can honor our hurt. We can honor the healing that we need after we've been betrayed, after we've experienced the trauma of the betrayal by getting support for ourselves. That's right. Yeah.
And I would say, even if you know that you are not going to continue in that relationship, it is still important for you to get support, for you to walk through this, for you to figure it out. Because I mean, if you're using kind of the war example, just because you move out of the war zone doesn't mean you forgot the explosion, doesn't mean the effects of that aren't lingering, doesn't mean, the images aren't there when you close your eyes. So it's something that, yeah, you didn't plan for it. It's not fair. You shouldn't have to do it, but this thing happened, and now it is your responsibility to do what you need to do in order to be okay.
Hmm. Love that. So what else can betrayed partners do or not do? Jordan, do you have
Yeah.
anything else that comes to mind?
I would say, if you haven't done this already, I would say don't just tell everyone and their cousins, don't blast it on social media. Don't, a lot of times out of anger, we want to be like, oh, this person did this, they're a horrible person, da 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 da. And we're telling all these people. And then maybe later on, we learn more about maybe sex addiction. We rebuilt some trust. Our partner is doing a lot of work. And we're like, you know what? Actually, I want to stay in this relationship. But everyone I know hates you. Everyone I know does not support this relationship because I told
Mm,
them the worst of the worst. And a lot of times these other people are like they love you. They want what's best for you, right? So they're trying to protect you. But if someone doesn't necessarily understand all the intricacies of addiction and infidelity and what's actually happening, unless they walk through it themselves, it is really hard to maybe see someone's side if they're saying, "Oh, I'm choosing to stay with this person even after they did this, this, and this." And so, as much as possible, don't tell everyone. Tell safe person, a couple safe people, not everyone, not the whole neighborhood.
mm. Yeah,
And
I love
then,
that. That's yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say, do you have anything to say about that? I have one more, but if you
Oh
have
yeah,
any,
no, go ahead. We'll get there.
then I was gonna say, don't blame yourself.
Mm,
Do not blame yourself. This is kind of usually our instinct. We want to blame ourselves. Do not blame yourself because someone's acting out, someone's addiction, it's about them. It's their way to deal with their inner world. We call it a process addiction. It's you're addicted to essentially the numbing out that this is giving you, the ignorance, the fragmentation that this is giving you. And let me tell you, it before you, started before you.
mm,
Oftentimes, teenage selves, it is about themselves and their inner selves. You could be absolutely perfect and it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter. And I would say sometimes people are like, well, maybe it was a one-time infidelity and I had, been really mean in the relationship lately, or maybe I had been withholding sex or, whatever. Okay, that doesn't mean that you're, scot-free, that you don't have anything that you need to take responsibility for, but it still doesn't excuse stepping outside the bounds of the relationship. There that's not an appropriate answer to, oh, I'm feeling unhappy in my marriage. I'm going to, step out on it. And so I will say it is not your fault that this happened.
Mm. So glad you said that. Partners understandably tend to blame themselves. They tend to, when they find out about their partner's infidelity, they're acting out, whether it be with porn or massage parlors or escorts or you name it. They they can tell themselves just horrible myth truths like I'm never going to compare with the person on that screen, right?
Mhm.
Or what did she have that I don't have? All of these very very painful thoughts that are self-referential and are self-blaming. And sometimes the infidelity has something to do with the relationship, but when we're not talking about addiction. But you're right in that even if there's something going on in the relationship that might have contributed to his infidelity, that in no way makes you responsible for that behavior.
Mhm.
That harmful choice was his, and that's not your responsibility. Moreover, with regard to addiction and addictive behavior, that's where it can be really helpful to learn more about sex addiction, to learn more about why the addiction developed. Now, a lot of partners want to know why did all of this happen then? If it wasn't because of me, well, then I want to know why this happened, why he turned to these behaviors in the first place, right? Understandably so.
Yeah.
Most importantly, because, hey, because you betrayed me, and if I'm going to stick around in this relationship, I need to know that this doesn't happen again. So
Yeah.
that means that you need to come to a coherent understanding of why this happened in the first place. I'd encourage betrayed partners to be patient with the betraying partners in that regard, coming to a clear understanding of why they acted out, why they were unfaithful in whatever form that takes. That can take some time to gain some understanding of, but that is ultimately a part of the information that is his responsibility to share with you.
Yeah, it's another one of those things that just feels really unfair. Of I deserve to know why this happened right now, but the reality is the betraying partner probably doesn't even know why. When people are in these addictions, a part of it is really just disfragmenting that addictive part from the rest of themselves. And so they have to reintegrate. They have to integrate those parts and they have to figure out, what is this part of me? Why am I doing this? And that takes time. And so they usually just don't even have an answer immediately. They have to figure it out.
Yep,
But I would just say the one thing that you can ground yourself in while you're waiting for that is it's not because of you.
that's right. That's right. Hmm. Yeah. Mm, thank you, Jordan. Is there anything else that partners would be best to avoid doing after betrayal?
There's probably a much longer list out there, but that's all I had for now.
I want to pick your brain about two things,
Yeah.
and we've alluded to this earlier. But first of all, to identify and put an end to any emotional abuse and
Hmm.
deception. Most
Hmm.
importantly, the lying and the gaslighting. So, I mean, that goes back to honesty. We were talking a little bit about that earlier. But I wonder if you can speak to, or we can talk about why is that so important after betrayal happens? Why is it so important to identify and stop deception and gaslighting after betrayal?
Yeah. So when we're saying that, okay, you might have to wait until full disclosure to find out the truth of everything that had happened in the past, we are not saying that and these behaviors are going to continue this whole time, right? No, okay. Discovery happened. You know something's happening. Okay. We need to find out the truth about what happened. But from that moment of discovery on, there needs to be no lies, no deception. There needs to be full transparency. And so that's something that is really worked on, especially in like the couples therapy right away. But it's okay, so maybe I found out that you lied by going somewhere on your lunch break at work. Okay, so maybe establishing transparency in this period of waiting, because we're not just saying sit down and wait and maybe they'll stop acting out, maybe not. It's okay. We have to wait for this, but also we're establishing transparency and honesty now. And so maybe it's I need to have your location, I need to have your phone password and all of like your computer passwords. If I FaceTime you, I need you to answer immediately. I need you to come home right after work. I need you to send me screenshots of how long it will take to get to one place, and then send me a screenshot that has like the timestamp when you arrive. Uh, I need you to not take your phone in the bathroom. There's all these things where if you think about them, you're like, well, that feels controlling, like I don't want to have to manage. But this is a really unique situation where you need the transparency. You need full transparency because you're not going to be able to rebuild trust unless you can see it, unless you know that what your partner is saying is happening is happening. And like most things, this is a delicate balance because if you're too obsessive with like the checking behavior and what's going on, what are they doing, that could be more harmful for you. But okay, what are the things that you need to know right now to know that there's no lies, there's no deception going on, that what is happening, what your partner says is happening is what's happening. And so that's again just another one of those areas that can be helpful to have a specialist help you parse out, what do I need to know? What would be unhelpful for me to know? But yeah, transparency, transparency, transparency.
Hmm. Yeah, when I work with betraying, that's great, Jordan. When I work with betraying partners, I drill into them the importance of proactive transparency. It's not just that you're being transparent, it's that you're volunteering information about your life so that she can start to trust that you're going to provide that information to her. Because
Hmm.
guess what? You weren't doing that before. And
Hmm.
if things are going to change, she needs to start being able to count on the fact that you're going to start being honest with her and showing her that you're going to be honest with her by no longer being deceptive and by stopping the gaslighting and any other scapegoating or blaming behavior that was part of the infidelity or the addiction. Got to stop. Okay. If it
Hmm.
doesn't stop, if the deception doesn't stop, if the gaslighting doesn't stop, if the scapegoating doesn't stop, that is going to re traumatize you as a betrayed partner.
Hmm.
So it's got to end. And betraying partners need help in learning how to recognize those behaviors in themselves. They need to learn to be less defensive. They need to learn to be empathetic. They need to learn to be open and vulnerable, which is scary because they often have internal beliefs from childhood that say, if I'm open and honest with the person that I love, they're going to leave or abandon me. I'm not going to
Hmm.
get the love that I need if I really show up with transparency. But it is critical. It is absolutely critical to
Yeah,
give your relationship the best chance it can survive. Mm.
yeah, absolutely. And what you said about proactive transparency too, like best case scenario, say for example, okay, someone
So,
betraying. Oh,
oh,
sorry, did I lose you?
I think I might have frozen there for a second.
Oh,
There we go. Okay, I think we're back. So,
I was just going to say something real quick
oh yeah, go ahead.
about that proactive transparency. Best case scenario, like say for example, so the betraying partner picks up their phone And maybe they're just like, oh, I'm looking at the ESPN scores for like they're just narrating, kind of like, oh, I'm not holding the phone close to me. I'm like, it's open, it's out. Just things like that. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm sure there's so much more that we could cover. This is such a rich topic, and I'm so grateful that you were able to join us here today for a very necessary and crucial discussion. We really want to help as many betrayed partners as we can. You're not alone in this. And so, Jordan, thanks for being here and walking through all of this with us. I really appreciate your taking the time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thanks for asking me to be here. And I will just say kind of parting words to any betrayed partners who are listening. I mean, one, so sorry. Like
Mm,
there is no way to put it besides this sucks. This
yeah,
sucks. You do not deserve this. I'm sorry that you are
yeah,
walking through this.
yeah.
I also want to say, even if it is incomprehensible right now, there is a path forward and there is hope, whether it's for you as an individual, whether if it's for the relationship. I have seen it time and time again, Jeremy. I know you've seen it time and time again. As hopeless as it may feel right now, we just take it step by step. We gotta find that lifeboat and then we're gonna make it to shore and then, we'll be on a tropical island having living out our best lives. So it is not fair. It's not okay that this happened, but it will get better if you commit to it. And also you're not alone. It seems like, oh, this happened to me. This hasn't happened to anyone else. You're not alone. It has happened, unfortunately, to a lot of people. You are not the first one to be deceived. You will not be the last. But we're here, trying our best to help you along the way.
Thank you. I love that message of hope. Hope is possible. And if you need help, stick around and I can share with you how to get in touch. Thank you again, Jordan, for being here. I'm just so glad that you're able to join me today on the show. And I'm sure that on some future episode, you'll be around,
Yeah, I'm
or
sure
at
we
least
have
I hope.
lots more to talk about.
I hope so. Thanks again.
Okay, bye.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Compassionate Recovery Podcast. Thank you so much for being here. I'm really glad that you chose to spend this time with us. I'm grateful that you're here. If you heard something that resonated with you, please feel free to share this episode with someone who might need to hear it. And be sure to subscribe wherever you listen so that you never miss an episode. To connect with us, please check out cicfreeconsult.com so that you can schedule a free consultation with one of our therapists or coaches. We are standing by here to support you. Wherever you are in your healing journey, we're here to help. Recovery is hard work. You don't have to do it alone. Help is just a free consultation away. So until we see each other again, remember, healing is always possible. That's a wrap for this episode of the Compassionate Recovery Podcast. Thank you so much for being here. I'm really glad that you chose to spend this time with us. I'm grateful that you're here. If you heard something that resonated with you, please feel free to share this episode with someone who might need to hear it. And be sure to subscribe wherever you listen so that you never miss an episode. To connect with us, please check out cicfreeconsult.com so that you can schedule a free consultation with one of our therapists or coaches. We are standing by here to support you. Wherever you are in your healing journey, we're here to help. Recovery is hard work. You don't have to do it alone. Help is just a free consultation away. So until we see each other again, remember, healing is always possible.